Hi, Gail.
Catherine.
Crema.
Sunshine, Crema, sure.
Yes. Away who?
So
Crema is a big deal for a lot of people. They say, oh, something's wrong with my machine. I'm not getting any crema. What's wrong with my coffee? I'm not getting any crema. So
mostly people think, what's the matter with my machine? It's usually the coffee.
Yeah. So people are focused on crema. Mm-hmm. And so we thought that we would talk about where it comes from,
what causes it.
What causes crema, and then
Well,
so people can kind of make choices and stuff like that.
Yeah,
around.
Choices. Well, it all starts at the plantation. It's how the beans are dried.
Okay.
First off, there's the natural process,
Mm-hmm.
which they take the cherries, the coffee cherries, or whatever. What do they call coffee beans?
The coffee cherries, yeah.
And they put them out, and they let the outside of the cherry ferment naturally. They
Okay.
put it out in the sun, and this is in the high sun areas, high heat like Africa.
Okay.
And they keep rotating them with the rakes, and it just ferments, and naturally the outside coating, ferments away, and you have the bean left. That process will give you the most oils and sugars in the coffee, giving you the most crema.
Okay.
Then the second process would be the pulped natural process. That they use water to remove most of the pulp.
And they let
cherry.
it ferment a little bit in the vats.
Let it ferment a little bit, and then they lay that one out and rake it, but in the
Okay.
same fashion, let it do its thing. That gives you a little cleaner bean, little less oils and sugars in the bean, so a little bit less crema, because
Okay.
you're using the water. It takes some of that out.
And this is going to be in places that are like
South
not as
America.
Okay, so they don't have a lot of
Central America.
sustained sun like Africa, but they've got
Right.
a good amount.
A good amount, a little more humidity.
Okay.
And then in areas where it's really not as warm and humid, they use the wet process.
Okay.
That they totally take off the pulp off of the bean with water. All of it. They take it all off, and then they put it in. They use a mechanical form of drying the bean.
Okay.
That takes the most oils and sugars out of it, so hence you're going to get the less crema, but it's a cleaner bean. It's definitely
As far as the taste is concerned. So that's one of the probably most well-known wet processed coffees, traditionally wet processed coffees, is Sumatran coffee from Indonesia.
Yep.
So
those are the three ways that they process the beans, and those three ways will influence how much crema you're going to get.
okay. So then what's next? Now that I've picked my bean,
The way it's roasted.
Okay.
If you over roast it, or do a dark roast, not over roasting, but if you do a dark roast, you're sucking a lot of the oils and sugars out of the coffee bean itself. It's not internalized. Now it's on the outside of the bean.
Okay.
And when it's on the outside of the bean, it's on the bag. It's in your grinder. It's everywhere, but creating crema.
Okay.
And then, thirdly, how long ago was your coffee roasted?
Okay.
Like Velton's coffee, typically his for roast is for crema, best is about 4 to 5 days out.
We're not 45, yeah. 45. Let it smolder there, yeah. So 4 to 5 days.
And that's
okay.
off-gassing.
Okay.
It's letting some of the CO2 escape, which too much CO2 when it's first roasted, actually, there's so much CO2 that it's displacing the coffee. So you're not getting enough coffee saturation in your shot. You're getting more CO2, which affects the flavor. It's not as good.
So it looks beautiful because it's got all this crema. Because the crema itself is the CO2 emulsifying the fats and the sugars.
Right.
So if you've got a lot of CO2, that's going to look really nice, very tawny and creamy looking, but it's not going to taste very well because it's not going to have a lot of coffee in it.
Not enough coffee.
Okay.
So all of those things affect it. So, and then if you go beyond where you're like 20 days out or 30 days out on a Velton's roast, you're not going to have good crema, and it's just that's too far out.
Exactly.
That's in the opposite direction. So.
Okay. Now, the one other thing that we should talk about is equipment, because a traditional extraction method, like the Rocket Giotto here, that one you're relying on, basically the force. You're grinding and tamping and trying to be even, and you've got you've got one shot as the water passes through. Whatever it's going to get, it's going to get. But there are some machines that have pressurization, and that will give you quote unquote crema.
Yeah, it injects air into it.
Okay, so it's not actually, it gives you the look of it.
It's faux crema.
Okay.
And you can notice it too. It's not a nice, dense, small bubble or,
Micro
microfoam
yeah,
or
yeah.
bubbles,
Like,
or
yeah.
whatever you want to call it in the crema. It's a bigger, fluffier root beer float, I call it.
Okay.
Looks more like root beer float.
So I think that the obsession or focus on crema was, from my perspective, kind of born from the fact that 25 years ago, people really didn't know where their coffee was coming from, who was roasting it, when it was roasted. And so the fact that the way the coffee was processed, how freshly it was roasted, those created crema, good crema, right? If it was, people became really focused on that.
Yeah. Now people are focusing on when it was roasted, how it was roasted, where the beans come from, and all that kind of stuff. And some people are actually experimenting, we're going to do it too, experimenting with, well, does it really taste better with the crema on or the crema off?
Yeah. And so that's the thing, is that because you can, basically, if there's too much CO2 or if it's pressurized or something, you can make shots that look really beautiful.
But they don't
taste good. And so having crema isn't the end all and be all of a great shot.
No. There's so many factors.
And I've had people ask me that, I'm doing the shots, I think they taste great, but I'm not getting crema, and I'm like, if you think it tastes good, then your job is done.
Exactly.
That's really what you're kind of calibrating against.
Does it
is your
taste
own
good to you?
Taste buds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what counts. That's what I tell people too. Does it taste good? Then go with it.
Time for a taste test, a crema taste test.
Americano with the crema taken off. Americano with the crema on. I bet this is going to be really hot. Maybe a little hot.
Okay. What's your assessment of it? Good?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see what this one's like though. It might be gooder. A little cleaner. For a cup of coffee. Well, I think I like them both, but this one's cleaner. I would say that the one with the crema off. You taste it. Girly girl. Give me the camera so that people can see you.
Yeah, right, Gail.
Come on, cat.
Okay.
Got that ingrained in your...
Yeah, I'm going to burn
Yeah, it's hot, isn't it?
myself.
No, we took this off the rocket, so we took the hot water off there. It's hot, 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 hot.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying?
The one with the crema does have a little bit of a bitter undernote to it that the one removed doesn't. This is a little bit smoother on the right than the one on the left. Okay, so there's something you could try.
That's
you could
our
try.
story.
Yeah, you could try that out at home if you want to see what you think of crema. If
You want to see Kat chasing that crema around the top of the coffee and the top of the cup getting it off of there. Come here, little crema. Don't you run from me.
All right. Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.